There's nothing in life better than family. See, I was born with my twin brother, Wes. A few years later, my family was blessed with my little sister, Nia. And as far as I can remember, it was always the 5 of us. Mom, Dad, Wes, Nia, and me, Jason, the Knight family. My parents were great, loving human beings. Even though we weren't rich, they filled our lives with compassion, life lessons, laughter, and most importantly, love. I can vividly remember my first Christmas. Mom and Dad didn't have much, but they gave everything they had to buy my brother and I the best Christmas presents in the world. See, when you have true wealth in the world, not material things, you sometimes can take things for granted. My father would always say, "Son, a person's own family is without a doubt the greatest wealth you'll ever possess." And since I was a kid, I've never forgotten those words. So, to start my story, it was Christmas Eve, back when I was a young boy. Now, just as usual, each year my parents would line up all our presents under the Christmas tree so we could open them on Christmas Day. Now, since my parents had been working so hard, my dad decided to surprise my mother with a dinner date between the two of them. So before leaving, my dad came to me like, "Son, I'm going to take your mother out for dinner." "But Dad, it's Christmas Eve." "I know, son, but we won't stay long. I promise to be back real soon." "Okay, Dad." So my mom and dad left for a quick dinner, and since I was the oldest, I was left in charge of my brother and my little sister. Now, one thing about me, I loved being in charge. So I got to my brother and sister like, "Wes, Nia, I'm in charge now." "Who put you in charge?" "Dad did. I'm the oldest. This sucks." So I made sure the house was clean, our chores were completed, and no one entered the building under my watch. Now, my brother and I loved playing video games. So for the rest of the night, we spent Christmas Eve playing against each other while my sister was playing with her toys. So a few hours go by. I look up and it's 11 o'clock at midnight. Now, remember, my parents promised to return soon, but it had been a few hours. So I start thinking, come on, Mom, Dad, what's taking you so long? So I get on the phone and dial my parents' number. I wait a few moments. The phone dials, but no one answers. Now the hair on my back started rising. I started thinking, something's wrong. If there's one thing about my parents, they always pick up when I call. Now my heart started beating faster. See, there's something in life called your sixth sense. And at this moment, I started experiencing it because something inside of me didn't feel well. So while waiting, my little sister goes, "Jason, when's Mommy and Daddy coming home? It's almost Christmas Eve." So I look at the clock and it's 11:59, just 1 minute before Christmas Eve. Now, as the big brother, I had no choice but to be tough for my little sister. So I go, "Don't worry, Nia. Mom and Dad will be here real soon." So my brother looked at me and from the corner of my eye, he could tell something's not right. So we waited a little longer, and then the clock hit midnight. I rushed to the window, looked out, but I didn't see my parents. Now I started panicking. I knew my parents wouldn't miss Christmas Eve for the world. So I got on my knees, looked up and said a prayer just like my parents always taught me. "God, I know I'm not worthy, but if you could please bring my mom and dad home, I promise to never ask you for anything else in life." And as soon as I finished saying those words, I heard the doorbell ring. My eyes opened with excitement. I rushed to the door, opened it, and it was the police. "Is this the Knight residency?" "Yes, sir." "Is there an adult I can talk to?" "I'm the one in charge, sir." So the cop looked deep into my eyes, and he didn't know what to say. My brother and sister came rushing behind me screaming, "Daddy and Mommy are home!" But then, we got the worst news in our lives. I'm sorry to tell you, kids, but your mother and father have passed in the car accident. I couldn't believe it. It was like time froze. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't see. The world stopped right in front of me and went dark. From that moment forward, I don't remember anything else. Our lives went from being the greatest gift one could have to our worst nightmare. We were now 3 orphans, my brother, my sister, and I. And for the rest of my life, I blamed God and asked, why us? What did we ever do to deserve this? My parents were good people, but with time, I came to realize sometimes God takes the good people first and leaves the worst people for last. Bad things happen to good people, or those who deserve happiness. So I got my pen and pencil and started expressing my feelings. See, sometimes we don't even know how affected we are until we speak the words out loud to someone else, especially if we bottle things up. The sharpness of pain you feel today will fade. You will maintain a dull ache forever. Sometimes after months or even years of a quiet heart, sneak up and grab you fiercely. Every day I think of my parents with love, compassion, and a longing for what could have been. For them, for me, for our family. So I'm starting this YouTube channel and dedicating it to my lovely parents. Mom, Dad, I love you. And I hope I've made you proud. And I can't wait to see you someday. Moral of the story: sometimes it rains the hardest on those who deserve the sun.